Today I messed up by leaving my underwear at my boyfriend's flat. Alright. This didn't happen today, but since I only learned about it today, I think it counts. A couple months ago, my boyfriend and I were in a long-distance relationship. I flew out to see him for a week, and when I left, I accidentally left a pair of my underwear at his place. It had fallen under his bed, so I hadn't noticed it when packing. He told me a couple weeks later that he had found them and had put them in the wash. No problem, right? Wrong. God. I am mortified by what he told me today. I tend to discharge quite a lot after my period, and this was the case with said underwear. But Christ Almighty, I did not expect him to tell me there was a worm in my discharge. I know he loves me simply by the fact that he washed them, and said nothing to me until 6 months later. I'm embarrassed, don't know how the worm manifested its way into my underwear. A little drunk right now while typing this out, so hopefully it makes sense. Strangers of the internet enjoy this story, as there is no way I'm telling this to anyone in real life. Too long. Didn't read, worm in underwear, am mortified. Today I messed up by not using a bathroom when I had the chance, thus having to unleash into a shoe while driving on the highway. Throwaway because my boyfriend knows my username. This happened a couple of hours ago when I had gone to my cousin's house to pick up a piece of furniture. Both my parents were there with their SUV, and the plan was to load the furniture into their car, and then we would drive separately back to my place and unload it. While I was at my cousin's place, I felt that familiar rumbling in my stomach and knew that I would have to take a poop when I got home. I didn't think to go at her house because, to be honest, it didn't feel that urgent. About 3 minutes into the half-hour drive back, my gut went a rumbling again, but this time, I knew that this was going to be a messy one. I considered turning back around to my cousin's house and using her toilet, but I figured I could make it 27 minutes. I puckered my asshole as hard as I could, and a minute later the feeling subsided. I was in the clear. But oh no, I wasn't. With about 15 minutes remaining, I'm on the highway and the feeling comes back. And this time, it is very strong. I started to feel nauseous and warm, so I cracked the windows and turned up the radio to distract myself, while puckering as hard as I possibly could. But at that point I was in so much pain, and a little juice, I'm so sorry, started to slowly seep out despite my best efforts. At that moment, I knew I would not make it back home, and there was no shoulder to pull off on. That poo was coming out of me, and I had about 20 seconds to do something about it. I frantically looked around my car and saw in my back seat a pair of my boyfriend's sneakers. He had left them there after a whitewater rafting trip, and it was the only thing resembling a container in my car. While driving, I pulled down my pants and put my jacket over my seat to protect it. I then positioned the shoe underneath me and just let it out. I'm going to skip as many gross details as I can, but basically the shoe was getting really full, so I had to use all of my willpower to stop midstream and keep it from overflowing. I placed the full shoe on the passenger seat floor and used some plastic newspaper bags to wipe myself. Luckily I only got a little on the jacket I was sitting on. I guess I have good aim, I'll add that one to my job resume. The worst was over. But I was very aware that my parents were also on their way to my place to help me unload my furniture from their car. So I pulled my pants back up and finished driving as fast as I could, without being reckless, so I could beat them to my place. Once there, I ran to my apartment and managed to change my pants and clean myself right before they arrived. I chatted with them as we moved the furniture into my apartment, the whole time thinking about the shoe full of shit in my car and how bad it was gonna smell. After they left, I went to my car and threw the loaded shoe away, successfully cleaning any minor spillage on my car floor that had occurred while racing home. I hand-washed my jacket and will be putting it into my laundry machine for a second wash tonight. I told my boyfriend that my dog chewed up his sneakers and I will be buying him a new pair. I don't really have anyone to tell this to because I'm so mortified, so that's why I'm posting here. I'm glad I did not get into an accident while pooping. Thanks for reading, and have a good week. Too long. Didn't read. I got explosive shits while driving and had to go into a shoe. Today I messed up by turning up to a wedding without my cameras. I'm the wedding photographer. I really messed up today but managed to pull it back without anyone knowing. I've been a professional wedding photographer for 8+ years and this is my worst screw-up. Yesterday, Friday, I had a 5-hour chest tattoo booked which overran slightly. I needed to rush to get home so I could pack my car to get to a hotel for a decent time as the wedding today is 300 miles away from where I live or roughly 5 hours in UK traffic. I rushed back from my tattoo, in pain and feeling slightly flu-like. If anyone has had a long and painful tattoo session, it's quite common to feel very drained afterwards. I quickly packed my car and headed off. It was a long and boring drive. To top it off, here in the UK there is a petrol shortage, so queues to refill cars are 30 minutes plus and prices seem to have crept up. I arrive at my hotel at 10 p.m. feeling really tired and rather bloody due to not having had time to wash my tattoo yet. On top of this, my throat is beginning to hurt, which always means the start of a head cold. No worries. I can just sleep. Nope. Unpacking my car, I realize I forgot the most important bag, my camera bag. I had no option but to drive 5 hours, 300 miles, back home to get the bag. My sat-nav told me it would be 3 a.m. by the time I got home, which I then realized meant I would be back up to my hotel at 8 a.m., for a wedding I had to be at for 9 a.m. So with absolutely no sleep, a sore chest, a throat which now feels like I'm swallowing razor blades and a high temperature causing me to shiver, I stand here at the wedding with my cameras, incredibly delirious and wondering why the pain medication I took isn't doing anything. I also stand here with less money due to having to pay for the hotel room and 900 miles of fuel for my car, and fairly certain I caused a few speed cameras to go off. Too long. Didn't read. Forgot cameras for a wedding, meaning I had to drive all night to get them.